everybody. Thank you for being here and happy Women's Day, International Women's Day. So today we're going to talk about, our perspective in this men's world and today's world. So super excited for tonight. And also really quick, I want to share last night we had our first webinar introducing Massive Capital Girls Society. So super excited with Angela. Do you want to share anything about it? What is and the plans that we have for this?
Yeah, so it went well. We were actually really excited. We were on adrenaline rush all day to have that meeting that night. And we're just excited about the future speakers we're going to have on it. We're excited about the community that we're building with like-minded women and just so many opportunities and pathways that we're going to be paving for women barely getting started in the game or looking to grow personally, professionally, or spiritually as well.
Awesome. And just like Massive Capital, we strive to add value. All the time that you guys spend, connecting to these webinars or the ones on Tuesdays for women, our commitment from us to you is that you get value, and we appreciate your time because this is time that you could be with your kids, with your family, running your businesses, your portfolio. So we appreciate your time and we want you to get the most value out of this talk. So thank you so much for being here. And did you mention it's going to be every Tuesday at 6 p.m.? I think
it will, and we'll actually drop the link in the chat for the newer ladies. I saw someone say it's their first time here, so we'll drop it in the chat for y'all, so that way y'all can go to that landing page and get more information as well.
Awesome. Also, if you're new today, just drop new so we can reach out to you and connect with you. So, let's see. Okay. And also that's a link to our webpage that we just talked about. So this is our team. Sharar, you want to introduce yourself? He's not in the pictures.
Hey, it's my fault. I was copy and pasting, and I made an error, boo out of myself. So hey, everybody, I'm sure.
I just think maybe we have a change. We're changing out.
Hey.
Taking one for the team. I appreciate that.
No problem. Look, it's us on the left, and our core focus is tonight is the one on the right side of it. So when I made that slide, I was so happy. I was like, this is so cool. You're talking about D&I. I mean, typically we'll talk about D&I, but when I take a look at it, it's DE&I. And when I look at this slide, when I look at our team, it just made a big smile on my face. And I shared with the group text. I was like, hey, I'm so proud of my team, right? This is so awesome. So I'm Sharar, one of the partners of Massive Capital, and Sanjay is not here. He's in New York with his family. He should be back in town tomorrow. So I'm really happy to be here, and everybody from our team, and also Brooke, and I'd love to hear your perspective as well. So back to you.
Mike and Trevor, do you want to introduce yourself real quick for people who are new today?
Yeah, and I would just let's make a quick announcement there is, if anybody is new to the call, just drop in the chat if you're new so we can connect with you. First time visiting Massive Capital. We're based out of Texas. I live in Houston. I had lunch with Sharar today, which was the first in a long time. We get together, but not as often as we still should, because we were able to get quite a bit done without being there sometimes, thanks to the way everything works and the team we have. So I came from oil and gas. I've been in the multifamily for a couple of years now. It's getting a little longer and longer. Have grown through that process. Have about $170 million of assets under management. As I started up part of that prior to joining us creating Massive Capital. And we're just glad to see everybody here. And we'll talk a little more in the future here about our partnership opportunities, how we work together with people, and basically the opportunity to continue to add value in the space of multifamily through just different ways that we go about that with the webinars that we'll be doing, this, different, opportunities to teach people, mentoring and so forth. So thank you guys, and let y'all, this is gonna be a great time tonight. I'm looking forward to it and hear what y'all got to say about this. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Trevor?
Yeah, so I'm Trevor, Vice President Investor Engagement. If you put new in the chat, you're going to get a message from me. Let's connect and talk. I love talking to people about investing in real estate. I'm actually at a big conference in Salt Lake City right now, 1,100 people talking about real estate investing. It's pretty exciting. But these ladies are more exciting. I came here because I'm a big fan, and they know.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you for all the support and everybody, all the team. So, Angela, I don't know, Maria is here, but I think Angela can start introducing herself.
Yeah, so my background is in commercial insurance. I have a robust background, started as a receptionist and worked my way up to the managing partner's right-hand woman. So prior to discovering real estate, I would have probably ventured off to real estate a long time ago. I am a mother of 3, I am a wife, and I am an entrepreneur at heart. I am naturally, it's kind of a guilty thing to say, but I'm a hard worker, sometimes almost borderline workaholic, but I do juggle everything in that aspect.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. Maria and Candace, they are not here, but they help us on investor relations. Very inspiring stories as well. Maria came from the health industry. She was a nurse, and then she started getting into multifamily. Now she's doing this full time. And Candace, she runs several businesses, but also, now in multifamily, trying to create wealth and getting freedom and getting her schedule back. So super excited. And for me, just briefly, I've been an entrepreneur, since I was a little kid. I founded my first company when I was 15 years old. I wasn't even legally to drive or drink, but that's the way I was raised. And I'm gonna get in more details in a little bit, but I joined in Massive Capital since the beginning with Meg and Sharar. So super excited for the opportunity and all the plans that we have ahead. Massive Capital definitely is working really hard to help people create wealth, and now super excited to just with Massive Capital Girl Society, we're gonna be helping women as well. And today is a special day, International Women's Day, so super excited about that. Sorry. So,
Hey, Jasmine, can I talk a little bit about Jen? She couldn't make it here.
oh
Sorry.
yes, of course,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah, Jen could not make it here. She's transitioning from corporate world to the real estate now. She joined with us as a junior asset manager. She'll be focusing on the Dallas area, running the operations. She's a mechanical engineer by background, works for a helicopter company, pretty cool stuff. And she went to Purdue, and so pretty awesome background. And we're really excited to have her in our team. Back to you, Jasmine. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this is your slide.
For us, what we do at Massive Capital, we do buy land for new construction. Also, we do value add class Bs and Cs. So we look at across the value chain, and we are partnership heavy. So wherever, every project that we do, we underwrite the project from the skill set perspective of the general partner team. Then we look at the project. It's not the, typically you'd see everybody would underwrite the project first, then back into the team. We go the other way around. We build the team first, and then we build all the projects that can be supported with the team. So we make sure the team has enough know-how to it. So land development and also the value add, that's ours. And we are big on partnerships, and we are big on relations. And so that's our biggest bet that we have had so far, and it worked out for us pretty well. Thank you, Jasmine. All right. So for us, we started Massive Capital almost 12 months ago. And we finished last year with $106 million of asset. And we have 3 properties under contract right now. We're looking to close all of them in the next 45 days or so. Full disclaimer, we're not pitching any project or anything like that. We're not accountant, we're not and attorneys. So whatever we talk about here is all educational purposes. And for your investment decisions, consult with your CPA, accountant, and legal team before you make a choice. So we're in 6 markets, all the markets: Denver, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Atlanta, and North Carolina. We have local boots on the grounds, and those are our operating partners. And we bring in debt and equity and also the project management know-how into those markets. And Arizona and Florida are our 2 more target markets. So all in, those are the markets that shows up over time, time tested, economic upcycle and down cycle tested. So we decided to go all those markets simultaneously. And I'll go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, partnership opportunity. So a little bit about how we operate and how we partner with others. As we go through, on the right side, I kind of threw some, the pictures out there just to kind of remind ourselves the intent of this call is to look at the real estate, look at the financial freedom perspective, freedom from the woman perspective. And I will try to give you some context as you go through, so you can kind of sort of see that the context matters, the perspective matters, being different matters. Otherwise, if we do the same way at the same time, hang out with the same set of group, with the same set of framework, it becomes pretty high risk activity. Right? So let me go through quick the second section, Jasmine. I'll pass it on to the fourth one or the third one. So from our partnership perspective, when we look at a deal, we guarantee loans, we bring in honest money, we bring in equity, also we bring in asset management framework. We also recap loans. We look at upside down deals quite a bit. So we are flexible. We're not a typical syndicating team. We are a private equity company. So if the deal has hair, we try to understand the project and the risk and then mitigate the risk to see if the project makes sense. So for us, we don't buy assets, we buy companies and we buy risks. So we are risk heavy. And as you will see, most of the webinars that we do, it's about identifying the risk and mitigating the risk. Last year, we have enabled about 21 people to be coming into multifamily as an owner perspective on top of the investors. We will continue to do the same thing this year. And when we partner, when we partner with the local operating partners, our job is to accelerate the growth by reducing the equity and debt burden. And also, if we partner with the equity partners, then our role is to take out the deal sourcing, due diligence, asset management from the plate so they can spend more time with the investors and make sure the investors are being taken care of in the rightful manner. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so right side is our deal tracker. On the left-hand side, we have 3 deals under contract with 4 LOIs pending. 2 of them we came back, probably no. We have 18 in the deal flow pipeline. So we have a fund that we're working on that's almost ready. Depending on when the next deal shows up, we'll introduce the fund. And investment opportunities for us, we try to keep 2 to 3 opportunities all the time, because we feel that if somebody invests in apartment sector, that any investor should be continuing to play. That means you should invest as many assets as you can, and so you can distribute the risk among the asset class and also the location. And Mike, you want to talk a little bit about the mentorship program? That's up and coming.
Yeah, no, it's coming soon. It's basically it's a lab. I think it's a lab accelerator program. It's not a strictly educational teaching, similar to, so we want to basically support in a way or help others that are either, already part of a program. People are already part of a Sunrock or Radcliffe's Warriors or 10X or Jake and Gino, many other programs out there, Race Masters, whatever it is. And what we want to do is create and have a place that people come in, they work, and it's more of a lab environment, join our meetings, our processes, our just everything that we do going through the deal process. So that's what we'll be rolling out soon. There'll be different levels of it coming to you, and that's really where we're headed with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Right. Trevor, you here?
I am. So
All right.
right now we're on a land entitlement deal in Georgetown, which is 30 minutes northwest of Austin. And it's very exciting. We're closing up. We do have one spot open up. So if you're interested, make sure you reach out to us. Other than that, we're fully funded and going to be closing in about a week.
Thank you, Trevor.
And it's a great investment. Yeah, 506C. That's why we can talk about it here.
All right. Then this project is super top secret. We can let you in if we don't know you. And if we don't know you, hey, please reach out to one of us and you'll see our whole team here. And then we have another project right after this one that is also, hey, only if we know each other, right? And full disclaimer on a 506B, the relationship happens on the first call, or just to understand that investor requirement and the intent of the investment, so you can guide and find the best suit of the money that we have to invest. Right, and we have another one coming up in the works. We're almost ready, but we'll talk about it later. And here, Jasmine, again, I really love that thing on the right. I feel like when I have a little daughter, she's 9, but she thinks quite heavily. It's like a 2 layers, 3 layers down. When I look at her, it's as a dad, I have to let her grow, and I have to make sure that nobody clips the wings, right? And I call her Butterfly. And when I looked at this one, I thought really spoke to me, and I thought I would kind of share with everybody. There you go. Jasmine, back to you.
Thank you so much. And we're gonna get into that. Actually, that's part of so this is of course Jasmine, for those who don't know me. Today just really want to share on that just Gerard said. I was raised just like, my dad was very strong on that. Like for him was very important for me to have freedom, independence, freedom, financial freedom. And the way he raised me, like growing up, I remember like I was like, oh, my dad is so hard, like being a little girl, 6 years old, and I'm like, why? Like I couldn't understand why he was so hard. And my dad always raised us with that mentality that if you want your kids to eat today, give them a fish. But if you want them to eat for the rest of their lives, then, teach them how to fish. So that's the way my dad raised us. And for me, it was hard, I couldn't understand. But I remember like when I was like around 13, 14 or so, he told me like, I just want you to be able to be so independent and free that if at one point you're not happy, if you end up marrying a man that is, you're not happy, you can just walk away and, create that financial freedom for yourself, that you're not depending on anybody, don't depend on me because, I don't know what's going to happen, or you can't depend on anybody. And that's part of, how I was raised. So that's what I was telling you at the beginning. When I was 15, I was already funding my first company and trying to find a way to grow my money and invest and all that, because the way that I was raised, I always say like, I didn't reach rich dad poor dad until I was probably like 18 or so. But I was so blessed that my dad read it like 15 years before, so the way he raises was just like that, always create my dad has been an entrepreneur always, and he just installed that in us. Like we need to we are responsible for our financial situation, for everything. Like we are responsible for everything, and it's so easy to blame other people or the economy, the market, and everything, but we need to take care of our financial freedom. So that's kind of like a little things, that the way that got me into entrepreneurship and later on real estate. So, and one thing that I will say to my younger self probably will be to dream bigger. I was, I guess, like back then when I was a little girl and just like didn't understand how life it was gonna play for me, and I was very confused, but I wasn't capable of dreaming bigger. So right now is when I'm taking action and I'm exposed to you guys, to all these mentors that we have, all these masterminds, and now it's like I'm able to dream bigger. Thank God I had all the foundations on businesses, investing, ethics and all that, but I wish I was able to dream bigger, younger, and continue on that path way younger, and investing in real estate sooner. So yeah, I don't know. I think we should we, I think that's it for me. Angela, I think is next. Let me see. Yes.
That was great, Jasmine. So for me, my story is different. Of course, all of our stories are different. So for me, I became a mother for the first time at 18 years old. And I knew right then that bringing someone into this world that is relying on me, I need to change things about how I was raised. So for me, my hustle and grind come because of my children. I want to provide them, the stability and the future that they deserve. So I work so hard now, and I make big sacrifices now so I can set them up for the same future I would have liked to have. Now, I lost my dad when I was 10 years old. He was actually a roadie, and that's a different story, but I didn't have my dad growing up. So hearing that story about Jasmine, that's beautiful. However, my dad was a hustler. And I guess I just get that from him. And I knew from the beginning, I couldn't not necessarily depend on someone else, but again, I wanted to make that way for my children. So I want to be the example to them. And I wish I would have discovered real estate sooner, because of the fact that I would have saved all that I could, make sacrifices all that I could while I was younger, to be able to invest more, to be able to provide not only financial freedom, but freedom of time to be able to travel, to be able to spend my time the way that I wanted to with my children. And not a problem. I've got exposed to it a little bit different, or a little bit later on in life. Still, I'd say I'm younger than most. But that's what I want to expose my children to in the early stages, and educate them and teach them the things that I didn't know. And I don't necessarily blame my parents, because you don't know what you don't know. So my also biggest goal is to break generational curses and to educate myself, my children, and even my younger siblings in real estate and investing and obtaining financial freedom. So that's my story all in all.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. That was amazing. And one thing that, what would you say to your younger self?
Save as much as possible and invest. Because I was a shopper at one point. So I wish, all that clothes and all the jewelry and all the shoes I bought, I would have saved that instead of buying it on material stuff, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. For me, it was like when you have a mentor at home, like you can really blow money like that. My daddy was like, no, you gotta save, you gotta save. So, but still, that's the thing for, I think it's like a woman thing. Thank you, Angela. So, well, Jen, she's not here, right? She didn't.
Yes. Okay. She's gonna make it today. She's a sorry.
Okay. Brooke.
Hey, mama. What's happening? So my name is Brooke Ceballos Pinheiro. I am the oldest of 6 kids. I am a mom of, I always say 4. We are a blended family. Okay. So I have 2 children from a previous marriage. My husband has 2. And the reason why that's important is because we have the meeting of the nations in one household, y'all. We have Puerto Rican, Nicaraguan, Mexican, Black, everything. So that I'll touch on why that's important in a minute. But I grew up in a military family. My father was the chief. He was in the Navy for 25 years, uncle's Marines, grandfather's Army. My mom was probably the hardest ass out of all of them, and she wasn't even military, right? So I was kind of brought up with the no excuse type of mentality. You want something, you get it yourself. are you bleeding? Are you dying? Suck it up, move on, pick yourself up. And it was tough, but it's made me very relentless and resilient in the way I am now. And I hope that our 4 daughters will learn that. When it comes to finances, growing up, I was taught that money was kind of a bad thing. Wealthy people were kind of the root of all evil, so to speak. My mom, which is why I'm so independent, I have to tread lightly because the story with my mom's not my story to tell. And I know she hears this, she's not going to be happy with me, but she's the reason why I am the way I am, because as much as I love my mom and I respect my mom, she did rely on men, and my mom, bless her soul, she was in relationships that she shouldn't be in because she needed financial support. And I saw the struggles, so a lot of respect does go to my mom. I learned from her struggles being a single mom with 3 of us kids, and how difficult that was to be in abusive relationships, because growing up, without getting too TMI, there was a lot of abuse in my childhood, and my mom stayed in these relationships because of financial reasons, you guys. That's why I'm such a hard ass on myself and growing women, and don't be in relationships that do not serve you. Like Jasmine just said, you want to be with somebody because they bring the best out of you. They love you, they accelerate you, you are all moving in the same direction and you have the same values. So growing up, being reliant on church and the government and seeing the struggles my mom faced, I told myself, when I get older, I will never, ever rely on anybody to get what I want. And to this day, I'm so proud, like my house that I own, which Grant would tell us we're done for owning houses, but I love my house. I got that. The loan is underneath my name, myself, right? My husband helped with the down, so let's give him credit too. But it's good and bad. I'm now so independent where I can do it myself that I struggled, to ask for help from my husband. And so that's a work in progress. What I would tell my younger self is, 1, invest sooner. Most definitely. I did not start investing out of 401ks until it'll be 2 years in July. So I'm 41 years old. So I was late in the multifamily investing game. 2, I always have considered myself a protector and a riser of bringing other people up and empowering people. Where that was bad for me is that I thought I could be mother hen and I could bring up people that really, 1, didn't deserve to be brought up. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. People that were not good to be in my circle, and they were more anchors than buoys in my life. And once I realized this circle of people, I can't help them anymore, and they're really bringing me down. And once I cut those ties, I saw myself accelerate. So I truly believe that the people you surround yourself with, what we read, what we listen to, what we watch, what we tell ourselves, that will put you on such an accelerated trajectory that beyond the sky, the galaxy, there is no limit. You are limitless. So that is definitely a high level of my story.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. That was very important and very inspiring. How important is just to surround yourself with the right people. And sometimes it's hard, when it's family and there's not much you can do. However, you always have to take responsibility for yourself and could the people who are not serving you. That doesn't mean like you don't love them, you're not there for them, but we have big dreams and things to do, and people who are not in the same page, you can make them. I had tried that when people who are not looking to they don't have the same vision and purpose that you are, like as much as you try and you explain and you're very passionate, like they don't get it, and that's nothing that you can do. So kudos to you and thank you so much for sharing. Now we go
Hey,
back.
Jasmine, we have Monica on the line. Could you? She's
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
Monica,
Of
we all love you.
course.
Yes.
Yeah, Monica, please come on.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I think it's important for people to understand that we're just really seeing the tip of the iceberg when we're on these meetings a lot of times, and there's just a lot of volume underneath that that water line for a lot of people here, and so it's important to have these moments and to share these things. My story is similar to all of you in some way. I've got I picked up things from everyone. I mean, Jasmine, I think for you and I, we're kind of first generation maybe, or, or even just having first settled into the US. And so we do bring some of that with us, I think. I started working early too. I started working when I was 13. I had 2 jobs when I was 13 because my parents could afford to send me to private school, but they couldn't afford all the accessories that the private school kids had. So if I wanted to have, a car, or if I wanted to go to the movies or have those cool jeans, I had to go out and get them myself. And they supported me, in that, and it got an early on work ethic. So much so that I was assistant manager at an airline by the time I was 20 years old in JFK Airport, right? Because it was just from early on, I had the hunger and the drive. And I found my way into real estate fairly early on, but I found myself in a multifamily space in New York City, pre-2008, when it was a different playing field in a lot of ways, right? It was the boardroom, and it was the suits, and that's where deals got done. And so it's opened up a whole new avenue for people and people anywhere in the world. And I'm also an example of that. I mean, I'm coming to you live from Montevideo, Uruguay in South America. And I invest in real estate in Texas and Georgia and Nebraska, from the comforts of my living room here in Uruguay. And people maybe that are also thinking about doing it from New York, investing in Texas. You absolutely should. If I can do it from another continent, you can do it obviously from another state. So I think, it's important. And I also have, again, with you, Angela, like, I wish I would have been taught early on, the spending, right? And just to say, hey, put it away. And there's so many great books that now I read to my kids. The Richest Man in Babylon, right? It almost reads like a fable. And I wish they had read it to me. And I wish they had, insisted on things. And maybe it was just, they came from a place of not knowing, and they did the best they could. But I just know that now there's a different way that I want to raise my kids. And it's tough, it's not the popular parenting style of giving them everything, for like a lot of you will relate to that. But I think it's important because we do want them to pave this way. And again, I started in real estate over 20 years ago, but I didn't have the ability or the knowledge that we're getting now from the mentorship groups and support groups like this, and the Girl Society, or even just a team as generous as Massive. Honestly, in the time that that I've been associated with Massive too, they've just been so generous with their knowledge, and I'm super grateful for that. And again, just it inspires me to teach my kids earlier. I mean, they're 8 and 10, and they're already understanding what I do, and visiting job sites, because we develop down here too. But it's important, and I'm all for educating women. I'm all for educating immigrants. Also, I'm all for educating people from outside the U.S. to invest the way we do in the U.S., because that's also another story. And they don't have that many opportunities elsewhere because they don't have the leverage. So we have a really, really, really big ace, in up our sleeve in the U.S. by having the leveraging systems that we do in the banking systems. So, I would say to all women, ladies, get out there, get educated, dive into this head on, because it's a wonderful opportunity for you to really just protect yourself and live comfortably and live the way you want to live and be the owner of your time. So that's my share.
Awesome. That's amazing, Monica. Thank you so much for sharing. And, between last week, like within a week, I had like 7 or 6 calls that I had with women, and all of them said my husband died a few years ago or a few months ago, and now what do I do? Now I have money. And it's like, I wish they had to start sooner, like when you are dealing with so much pain, just like losing the love of your life, it's so much to be carrying on, just like, what do I invest? What do I do now? And, taking over things. And it's like, the sooner that we can be involved and exposed to all these communities, people that, can help us, definitely the better. So that was amazing. Thank you so much, Monica. Anybody else, Sharad, that you see? I mean, I don't see the chat, but
I don't know if Candace is I see Candace, maybe Natasha wants to say anything. So
of course.
I think you're kind of in a Q&A, or people that want to share their piece.
Yeah, let's open it for questions. And ladies, if you want to share, and Candace, Natasha.
Yeah, and I just want to say something real quick. So we've all heard it said, behind every strong man, there's an even stronger woman. And I feel like that's not only in a marriage standpoint, but also it's being shown here with Massive Capital, them opening their platform to us ladies to be able to speak. And, I think ultimately we're all grateful for that opportunity and for us to be able to connect and collaborate, not only through Massive Capital, but also now Massive Capital Girls. I do want to highlight that and say thank you guys for that as well, because y'all are making us women feel special tonight.
Yes, I echo that 110% because, and I really want to give a shout out also to Mike Bailey, because Mike and I were hustling together for so long. He's in the Cardone group with me. We were showing up to all these places. And when we connected at AmNatCon, he's all, Brooke, I see you all over the place, and you're busting your butt, you're busting your tail. And it was so nice to be recognized for all my work and for him to connect me with Shariah. And he's like, Brooke, I want you to meet Shariah, and a lot of the guys, and the reason why this is, the reason why this is important is because in my experience in the beginning of my journey, it was men that were poking holes in my boat and getting in my way, that I was having to collaborate and kind of lay the law down, so to speak, with these men. But in the end, there's fabulous men like Mike Bailey, and Shariah's fabulous too, but he extended a hand out to me and said, Brooke, I see you. I see what you're doing. Let me introduce you to Shariah. And Shariah was fabulous. I got to meet him and he's like, Brooke, I just need commitment. I got everything else. I just need commitment, Brooke. I'm like, you know what? I'll show you commitment, Shariah. I can talk and talk, but let me show you. And that meeting went so well. And ever since then, I spent a lot of time with the Massive Capital team. And I am so grateful. And I thank God that our values were aligned. And I feel like God put Mike in my vision for a reason. I had to go through the trials and tribulations I went through before I could really appreciate Mike Bailey. So I want to tell you, thank you, Mike, so much for reaching out, because when Mike first reached out to me, and some people do know this story, some people don't, him and I were in the beginning of our journey, and I was touring a property in Texas. And he's like, hey, Brooke, can I tag along? Let's go tour this property together. And I didn't know who Mike was, you guys. So I'm all like, why is this guy trying to take my deal? Like, I was all like skittish because some of the way that some people had approached me. I was like, oh, you're so kind. Thank you. But I'm just going to go on my own. And now it's kind of come full circle. And so I always tell Mike, I'm sorry I didn't let you tour with me, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. The whole team is fabulous. And I love how, they want to be of service. And I think it was Jasmine or Mike that said this, I don't recall. Serve the world as if you're serving God, right? And you won't do any wrong, and you can't do any wrong, and you can walk down the street with confidence and know that people are going to have your back, right? So I appreciate you, Mike. I want to give you a shout out for sure.
Well, that's thanks, Brooke. I appreciate you as well. We love the story. Thank you.
Yeah.
So awesome that we finally, I appreciate that we were able to get connected, reconnected, and move things along and create the opportunities. So
I'm making you blush, Mike. Are you getting rosy? I'm just playing. I always like to mess with Mike because he's so sweet and he's so quiet and relaxed, and I'm so like in your face. But yeah.
thank you. Where's Candace? Is she not?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I'm driving. I can't.
Okay, be careful.
I want to say a few things. I am driving, so I'll make it short and sweet. But I just wanted to tell you guys, I cannot agree more with what Brooke was just saying. I just really so appreciate you guys and you, Shariah, or the whole team. The gratitude, the love, the commitment, the transparency. It's something that I have said this several times. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but it's like waking up for Christmas Day every day, because there's just so much that you guys guys give and support. And another example is just tonight as well. You're always thinking of everybody else first. And that's such a big difference in most groups. And the way that you guys, like I said, had the transparency and just everything that you do. I so enjoyed walking the property with you, Warner Robbins, Mike. And I just, it's just everything. It just keeps getting better. And I just so appreciate that. And I adore the group and everybody in the group. And I can't thank you guys enough. So I just want to say that.
Thanks, Candace. This is not supposed to be about us. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be about the ladies.
I was
I don't
gonna,
like talking about myself. I hate that, but I'll just say that I'm probably one of the older ones in the group here. And I will just tell you that I would give anything to have known this at my twins' age at 16. They're 16. And I'm trying my hardest to I'm drilling it in their head, obviously, to save. I've got one saver and I've got one spender, but so luckily, hopefully it'll work itself out. But I will tell you that, like, I wish I would have known this. And like I heard other people talking about their parents, and they can't blame them, they didn't know it, right? But I've said it enough to my girls, they're probably sick of hearing it, but I just want them to make sure they invest, and that compounding of investment will set them up for life and make them be able to enjoy the life that they want to live. But I have definitely drilled that into their head, but you guys have definitely helped that so much. And you make things that are difficult easy, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. So
Thank you. Where did Monica go? She had her hand up and then she put it
Yeah,
down.
I'm here. If if you'll permit me a minute, I was thinking about a couple of things and would love to share. So piggybacking a little bit about what Jasmine said and how like women's approach to financial investments and things. I had a conversation with Maria last week about the fact that even girls as young as her age, I mean, she's probably one of the younger ones in the bunch here, having a conversation, sitting there, with a couple of friends and mentioning something about real estate, and they were basically, in unison told her, well, my husband handles that. Right. And so we kind of, are wanting to change that approach a little bit. And, in investing too, especially for some of the women that are just starting out, I think it's important to understand that there's a lot of cogs in the wheel, right? There's a lot of moving parts to these deals. And a lot of times we go to these conventions, and I often go without my husband because he focuses on our Latin American stuff and I focus on our US stuff. And so, I kind of get the like, oh, so what does your husband do? And I'm like, well, he handles our LatAm portfolio. You're talking to me now, right? I'm the decision maker here, and it's like I don't really get that that reception, like, oh, okay, and so, we had to own a little bit about the fact that we're in this space, I want to say to a lot of the women, and that you can bring value in a lot of different ways. A lot of the guys are really good at crunching the numbers and they're underwriting and they get a pod for this and they're going to get together and they're going to crunch numbers. But you can bring, value as an asset manager. You can bring, value to even something as simple as like, CapEx and, decorations or decor for the apartments and, selection of materials or even marketing help. I've seen a lot of, of decks that need a lot of marketing help. So there's a lot of ways to come onto a team that maybe you're not thinking of. So see your value, figure out what you can do from your, if you're currently in a W-2, or if you have another, another space that you work in, what can you bring in? Maybe it's the way you handle a CRM, right? So, it's a little bit of just figuring out what you do well and offering that up to a team to find your way onto a sponsorship team. So I want to kind of incentivize everybody to really deep dive into themselves, give yourself the merit for the things that you've amassed in all your years of working experience, and see what you can offer, to a team and go for it.
Yeah, that's very important, Monica, because I'm just gonna share really quick. Sometimes we don't know the superpowers that we have or what can we bring to the table. I was very intimidated when I found out about buying apartments and multifamily. So I'm like, I'm not a numbers person. I don't have deep packets. So, but just connecting with Mike and kudos to Mike. Super grateful for him. But I just want to share, like, for example, we have one property, South Houston. It's a classy property, rough area. And when we first pick up the property, I remember walking the property. It was like 2 p.m, daily light. And I was so scared to walk on the property because it was just rough. It's a rough area. It's a rough property, class C. And I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be walking here. This is unsafe, And just having that feeling that you don't know who's looking at you, you don't know what's gonna be happening. And I was sharing this with Mike last Friday. We have one unit vacant, and one of the potential tenants told me, can you meet me at 8 because I work and blah blah blah. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. But I was kind of nervous about it because I didn't know what to expect, and I know it's a classy property, I know the area and all that. So I was like, sure, I'll go. And I was telling Mike, like, it felt so safe. It was, the property was clean. It's been so many, like, it's almost a year that we took over on that property. And definitely it's a lot of work that we've been doing on that property. But just like woman, what you were saying, Monica, like, we have other ways to add value to that. For them probably it's like the numbers, yeah, it's a good deal, it makes sense, we're cash flowing, we're good. And for us it's like, no, we need to make sure the tenants are safe, and if there's single moms there, that they are safe, and having light in the parking lot, having clean parking lot, attracting better tenants. Of course, when you have a property that is like this short and you have trash in the parking lots and the dumpster area, the tenants that you're going to attract are not the best tenants. So when you start cleaning out the property and adding value, you definitely get better tenants. And that's something that I feel like that is that's some gifts that we have just for being women, that we really take of other aspects of the property. So yeah, just wanted to add that, with that little story. Okay, Brooke, let's go back to you.
And I know we have 2 minutes.
Yeah, and
so
then I
really
see Catalina was also, go ahead, Brooke.
Okay, cool. So I have a lot of one-on-one conversations with a lot of women. I know there's a handful of you guys in here. And one of the questions that I get is, how do I get people in this multifamily field or all of these events to take me seriously? It's dominantly men, so on and so forth. I'm trying to build relationships. Not all women do this. And I talked about this with the 10X ladies on Steph Dablowski's. Please, ladies, for all that is holy, when you go there, dress respectfully, okay? Dress like you're looking for a business partner and not a one-night stand. I'm gonna put this out there because the reason why, I see your face, Mike, sorry, but a lot of women, some of the girls that come out, like, nobody's taking me seriously, and you're showing a lot of business. So please make sure you're conducting yourself professionally and with respect, and that you're going there fighting for your future, so to speak, okay? We're not looking for a date when we're at these conventions. And when it's dominantly men, we as women need to realize that we need to kind of pick a feature, okay? I'm gonna speak from my dad's perspective, what he drove in my head growing up. Brooke, if you ever go out into the world and it's male dominant, I'm in sales, marketing, negotiations, the corporate world for 20 years. If you're showing a V-neck, you're going to wear pants. If you're wearing shorts or a skirt that's at, to your knees, make sure your hands are out and you're covered up on top. Too many women that I speak with, you guys need to make sure you're here for business, okay? So make sure you're conducting yourself appropriately and you're using your brains and not your looks, and look professional, okay? And I will leave it at that because it has been a topic of conversation behind closed doors. And because this conversation is about women in a male dominant field, it needs to be said. Conduct yourself with respect. You're not looking for a date. You're looking for a business partner. This is generational wealth in your future. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, super important the way we carry ourselves.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to respect ourselves, and it betrays to people, so yeah. Thank you, Brooke. Let's go to Kalina. Are you there, Kalina?
And I also wanted to thank Mike and the male staff at Massive Capital of allowing us this platform to show us respect and to show us how important we are in the business and in their life as well, and to show that we are capable of offering a lot to this world. And while it is considered that is male dominated, it's powered by a lot of women. And so it's not a question of dominance, it's a question of balance and supplementing each other strengths and weaknesses. And as many successful people say, they rely on their strength and they hire for their weaknesses instead of working on their weaknesses. But I also wanted to follow up with what Monica said. Monica, I really appreciate your appeal to women to apply themselves and to show what they're capable of and how they will be able to contribute and what value they will be able to bring to the table. And I am actually, in many aspects, I feel that I will be able to contribute to not only Massive Capital, but other similar groups with the background that I have in commercial real estate. I also love interior design and have a different aspect of a value that I will be able to bring to the table. And I'm ready and willing to help in any capacity that your group will need, whether it's in acquisition, financing, development, interior design, boots on the ground, whatever it is. But working in an environment like Massive Capital is creating not only for women, but for the entire investors society. It's really important for me to associate with like-minded people. And I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to hear my voice and for the opportunity to potentially contribute to this strong team. And I am very, very happy to become part of it. And Mike, we met at the real estate summit. I think Jackie introduced us. We went to one of the meetup together. And it was the first time I met with Brett Sumrock, and I actually enrolled in one of his training the other night. But again, thank you, and I look forward to contributing to your group.
I'll remind him of that tomorrow morning.
Pardon me?
I'll remind Brad of that tomorrow morning.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Hey, you got some of our, you got some referrals from us, so that's awesome. Thank you as well.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you.
So Jasmine, you want to put your, I took off your sharing a second, sorry. You want to put it back so you can at least talk about next, and then as we go into the after hours, if anybody wants to just talk and share, they can. Shirai, are you there? You want to talk or?
Yeah. Before I get into it, I want to share a couple of things. So for my look, the story about, or the tagline about behind a man, there's always a strong woman, which is true that inside the marriage or outside the marriage as well, right? If I look at myself, my life has been shaped by 3 women, right? I'll talk about one, at least 2, right? One is, so the CFO of Shell right now, Sinead Gorman. I worked for her for 4 years directly when she was in the US. That girl, she graduated from Oxford when she was 19. She had breast cancer when she was 21. She went to Goldman Sachs, then she came to Shell, and she shot up like a rocket. Imagine running billions like a totally bee. She is 5'2", 5'3" at best, right? Really tiny. She's walking in the room full of people, and we have 45 to 55 years old men that have been there, done that, all type A macho, right? And it takes a lot to get there. and she's coming in, running the show. I have seen her to get her ass kicked. Then I've seen her a week later kicking all those assets, right? It's the other way around. So it's how she played, how she changed the $17 billion business within the US. That's awesome. So how she worked, I learned quite a bit, right? If you work with the senior, like a world-class leaders, right? There's not that many people running a bigger company than she is. So if my philosophy, a framework of running an operation, thinking about strategy, a dominant part comes from her. So that's 1/3, right? The other 1/3 is it's here at my house, my wife, right? She was a high potential, which is a high flyer or top 10% of Exxon. And when she came home, it's I feel like that so far all the things that I was able to do because she let me go by allowing me not to pick up the stuff at home. Like, as a mom, sometimes I feel like I'm blessed I'm a man, right? It's as a woman. You guys are wife, you guys are mom, you guys are friends, you guys are so many things, and I'm just the dad. I'm just the guy who's working. I don't have that many hats, right? So sometimes for all those men that are married, right? It's just us. Sometimes I feel like I'm just happy I'm a man, but she does so much. And the biggest worry that I have, especially on the moms, like whenever you focus on the home, they have delayed result. We do a project, we get instantaneous result. Kids are slow, right? They're gonna monkey around and you see them 5 years down the way. So I have mad respect for any mom, any working mom, and also, and the amount of intensity that you guys have is mind-boggling. So just want to share that, yes, behind all the things that we do, we have been enabled, ready to get our ass kicked or to get straight by a woman in some way, shape, or form, right? So kudos. We feel passionate. Last thing, what I would say is it's my mom. So think about 1940s, 1950s in the US, when a woman's supposed to stay home, clean, be ready. So in that time, someone is trying to go to college, and someone trying to go to the armed forces and trying to get an interview, right? When I look at my mom in 1970s in a third world country, she was interviewed for the first police officer in the whole country. She's an ass kicker, right? So I grew up in a family like that. So I could see the benefit and appreciate when someone comes out of the way and really does it. To me, in my house, men and women are equal. Now, other way around, all things equal, women are much powerful than men. As long as we let them and nurture them, let them grow, right? So we appreciate all the things that you guys do, and I think we should ask perspective, and we should open up more, doors for the women as much as we can, as many as you can, right? So that's one of the framework that Massive has, and you guys will see it kind of shows up, right? So yes, appreciate everybody out there, especially moms. You guys are just crazy, right? So thank you for doing what y'all do. That's all, Mike. Now you want to go back to tomorrow or next week's slide, back to reality a little bit, right, as you go through. So we'll talk about the asset management next week, and I believe Trevor and Sanjay will lead that call. So we'll talk about the asset management framework, a little bit more corporate way, how to go about the asset management, the risk associated with the asset management on top of the project, and then below down to the project level, right? Every time we buy a multifamily, there are 2 layers of operations at the property level, at the project level, and then how we mitigate about the major risks and some of the risks that we're exposed to. There's nothing you can mitigate. So that's the framework of next week. Join us. It's really interesting, really intense. So back to you, Mike.
No, that was it. Great. No, it's really back to Jasmine. This is her
Yes, back to you.
her meeting tonight, and thank you all. And but yeah, if you guys want to stick around, if anybody wants to chat for a while afterwards, we got, we stick around for another 20 minutes or so, and talk about, anything anybody wants to talk about that's not related or unrelated to the topic tonight. So
Hey, all topics are welcome. It gets that little hangout time, right? Off the book conversation.
And then, yeah, sign up there. Did you guys drop, you dropped the link again, drop the link for you guys' sign up stuff, connect with all these ladies, and do some massive things.
Yeah, for sure. So just like a reminder, some people came in late. So ladies, we have the Massive Capital Girls Society is going to be every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. And then every Wednesday, we're going to have our weekly webinars. So next week, we're going to talk about asset management on Wednesday. So it's more like education part
Do
of
you
it.
guys know who you'll have? Do you know yet your plan next week, Tuesday?
Yeah, so we're still
In the
debating.
work.
We're still
So it's still in the
working.
works? Okay, that's fine.
It's a surprise, Mike.
It's a surprise,
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
it's a
Nice.
celebrity.
I guess we don't get, and yeah, we're not in the know anyway, so.
Mike, that's a top secret conversation. Don't get in. Some
I know,
conversations are good to
I know.
stay out, buddy. Come on now. You know?
No boys allowed.
Right. We understand and we appreciate that sometimes. You know? Just hang out.
Well, I
So,
have to relieve Jeremy, and I thank y'all for the opportunity. This has been great, and I love to connect with y'all and drop there's the QR code y'all can scan for the Massive Capital Girls Connection Group. So thank y'all.
thank you, Angela. I see Karen has her hand up, Jasmine.
Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, hi. Hi,
Hey, Karen.
yes, can you hear me? Yeah, good evening. And first of all, I want to apologize for I'm in isolation for COVID, so I look like anyway. I have a general question on Massive Capital. In your business plan, do you actually invest with other people in their deals, or are you only looking for equity partnerships?
Mike.
I'll try to take it. It's kind of not,
Right.
I'm actually, it's kind of not either. So we look for partnerships with other people as well as our own deals. We don't look to do just equity partnerships on our, directly on our own. So what we look is from a partnering standpoint is people, and I think it goes back to the earlier slide that's in there that it's where somebody has a deal they need some help on, and we see where we can fit. We don't want to fit just to bring equity to a deal. We come in, we want to fit into multiple areas where we are on the balance sheet, loan guarantor, help, the whole process of closing, asset management, possibly, equity raise, whatever needs to be done. So we don't like to partner just to bring equity to a deal. But we don't directly invest in deals that aren't our own necessarily either. Personally, we may, individually, we may, but as Massive Capital, our investments go into our deals. I don't know if that was kind of what you were thinking or asking, or if you want to clarify.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Again, I can piggyback some hard data.
Yeah.
So
Please.
from the 9 deals that we have done last year, 8 of them we fully control. Other one, it's a partnership for us with a stronger partner. We did it. We raised about $21 million last year. Around 17 to 18% was our own fund from our own pocket collectively. We can put it in from the Massive. So yes, we do invest side by side. We control. So we are a blend between a typical syndicated team and a private equity company. So we behave like a private equity company where the larger the check size is, we want to carry on the debt as well. So we are deep into the project. So we have a control on top. But we can, open up the room for someone else to run it. But if one thing goes sideways, we could come in and pick it up and go from there. Yeah. So we do that. We do equity. We do earnest money. We do due diligence, and we also have asset management framework. It all depends on the project. Good question, Aaron. Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts, shares, whatever? Ramiz, welcome back. I need to connect with you. Tell us what you're doing.
All right. Thank you for having me speak. It's good to be back. I'm really excited. For those of you that don't know, I was gone to Pakistan for 1 month. 2 of my best friends, guy and girl who I went to school with when I was like 7, were getting married to each other. So it was a pretty cool moment, you know, for me to see all my old friends and my teachers and just people that I kind of grew up around. For any of you that have had to leave your home country, I'm pretty sure, you know, you guys know how hard it is to kind of build up so many amazing relationships and then have to just leave them behind, right? Especially when you're a kid and you don't have social media or a phone and stuff. So one day you're with all your friends and the next day you're like 1,000 miles away from them and you have no idea when you'll ever see them again. So that was really exciting. I'm excited to be back. I've been up to quite a bit recently. We're trying to figure out a few things from the Texas REI side of kind of how to get deals flowing in this current market. It's been a little hard for us, but you know, we're figuring it out. So it's keeping me busy. I'm excited to also, you know, be back on Massive Capital and start doing some more work on this side as well. And also, of course, work with Sanjay and try to get some deals coming in.
Yeah, so Ramiz is also working on our, we have the, we'll do a webinar on this as well soon. I think Schreier kind of tie it together with a little bit of the future program of coaching and things, but the DDM, Deal Doer Machine, which is with Michael Menudo, we're teamed up with. So it's like, it's an off-market opportunity, and that's how we, so Schreier, Sanjay, Ajit and I came together really through the Deal Doer Machine. So it was a deal that came from there. They found it off-market, direct to seller. We went and met, all of us together, was that first time on that deal. And you know, kind of history is being made now, you know, going forward with that. But that Deal Doer Machine is what Ramiz is working on to follow up on the leads and connections where we're getting, you know, some traction on off-market commercial multifamily opportunities. And that's available open to others that maybe want to sign up for that. It's there's a package, I think like a base tool package is like $500 a month, includes Red IQ. So just something that we're leaning on heavily in our business model. So
yep.
Thanks, Ramiz. I'd see Kalina, you share again. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mike. I have a question. I wanted to find out whether there are any opportunities to contribute to Massive Capital in any capacity, using my background and experience. And also I'm interested in investing with any of your projects, and what are the opportunities to do so as a GP?
Sure, you want to take it?
Got it. From the investment side of it, it's again, full disclaimer, this is not an investment pitch session, and we're just talking through it. It's a lot of ways to kind of do it. So typically the way it works for us, we go through a two-sided interview process. You interview us, we interview you, and understand the skill set and design something around it. It's just not the money first. It's about the skill first, longevity second, and then how we kind of come about it. And then there are some characteristics to what we can offer versus what we're looking for. And then we just go through that process. The best thing would be to reach out to one of us, Jasmine or Trevor or one of us, and then just go through, get to know them, and then talk about what you're looking for. And once you sit down, and talk to us, 2, 3, 4 of us, then you'll figure it out. So short answer is reach out to us. Let's set up some phone calls with an IR team, and let's just talk through it. And then the second step will be, once everything aligns, with a lot of practice. Like nobody buys anything till we go through the sandboxing or your lab testing, right? Now we simulate as if we bought 1, we bought 5, we got 10. We ask the question, what does it look like from the roles and responsibilities perspective? It's our belief that multifamily, when we buy, we're here to do more. And once you do more, it becomes a job. It's not a help. It's not a one time. It's not we agree something, then we walk away tomorrow if I don't feel like it. It's a job. So it has a lot of process that has to go through it, because every time we do a project, it's 5 years commitment, right? Like the same thing when I was talking to Brooke. We don't need anybody's help. We need commitments. Starts and ends, right? 5 years straight. So that's the process. to kind of go through. And without the conversation, we just don't know. And we are joint venture heavy, and we're in the business of relationship, and to just sit down with us, talk through it, and as we talk through it, we'll identify what's the best way to partner up.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. I understand.
Yeah, and I would just say with that is connect with a few others within our, as you mentioned, Trevor, Jasmine, any of them, Brooke, Candace, Angela, Monica, any of them, because one is we want people to, learn and understand more about how we work and operate. And it kind of, they get to learn, we get to learn together. And so we're looking for, everyone that is, showing up for a while, realizing that a deal doesn't necessarily happen overnight, but within a 6 to, there's a time frame of a deal should happen, right? You shouldn't be out there for 12 months trying and not have gotten into a deal. And that was where we saw a lot of gaps that happens for a lot of people. That there's a lot of work that gets done, but sometimes it just didn't happen, and the reasons, are many, but we want to be there to help others, really avoid that going forward as well. But it just still takes time to get through the story, the process, and getting aligned, over a few months period. So people that stick around, usually, they'll see the opportunities.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it. I understand it's a question of getting to know each other and what are my superpowers, what I will be able to bring to the table as a value and a commitment to contribute to the group. Thank you.
And we'll connect more knowing you, joining up with Brad. So that'll be cool to see what's, how that's going to be working out for you. And I think we'll have some of our team up at Brad's event in March. So we'll see it there. Hey, Mohammed, I saw you had your hand up did you want to speak earlier?
Yeah, actually I did. First off, I just wanted to say, excellent webinar today. I had a chance to catch the recording last week. I really found that one to be pretty insightful as well. I actually had, I guess, more of a kind of similar question to the one that was just asked, and just trying to get a better understanding of how to, work with massive capital, and also just kind of learn more about the company and obviously some of the goals, and maybe just diving in and dialing into investment criteria a bit more. For myself, I've been working in the commercial real estate space, for the past 9 years, and so I'm fortunate to have some experience in the arena, but I've always had kind of aspirations to get into the game myself per se, and my goal now is to kind of leverage my skill set and experience and network into trying to do just that. So right now I've been pretty active in going to a lot of different meetups and networking events. And funny enough, I'm actually I'm going to step inside once I get done with the webinar here, but at the Brad Sumrock, he's hosting an event at the Quest Trust office today. So I'm trying to take as much action as I can, and just network with as many like-minded people. So I would certainly welcome the opportunity to get better acquainted with you and the rest of the team, and potentially get to know each other a little bit better, and see if there is an opportunity to work together.
Okay. I'll say one thing. When you step in, just tell, hey, Brad, sorry I was late. I was on Massive Capital's webinar.
We have a breakfast tomorrow scheduled with Brad, and me and Michael going. That's why we're just messing around.
No, I'll definitely poke some fun. I'll let them know.
So
I'm going to say something really quick.
Break the ice, right? Then
I'm going to say something really quick, because I know everybody loves Massive Capital and everybody wants to partner because they're phenomenal, and I completely agree. However, a lot of people that I see reach out even to myself. They want to partner and work with people. However, one, they don't put themselves out there. So WhatsApp, you have no photo on there when we're on calls. And I promise I'm not picking on you, Mohammed, but you're not on video. And we're trying to connect with people and date you because, like we've said, this is not a one-night stand. This is a marriage, right? And that is how relationships work. We're showing up at the exact same places. We're breaking bread with people. We're having these conversations. We're reading your body language. And people who are on WhatsApp and they're pinging me on text messages or even Massive Capital, show your face. Show your face on video. If you can't, dominate the chat and show your LinkedIn profile, because when we do meet you in person, how the hell do we know who you are if we don't see your face? So I'm always calling people out on WhatsApp who ping me separately. Hey, Brooke, we have this deal. How do I get in with Massive Capital? How do I, well, one, I don't know who you are. You could walk in here today, I have no clue. You don't have a picture up. You know, when's the next, you know what I tell people? Fabulous. I'm so happy you want to collaborate because they're phenomenal people. When's the next in-person event you're going to be at? Because honestly, I've never partnered with anybody, whether professionally or personally or otherwise, until I have met them in person. I want to make sure that you treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO, because values and visions are important. But biggest point here, WhatsApp, put a photo up for the love of God. When you're on here and you want to connect and have a relationship, show your face. You don't have to be on video all the time, but at least let us know who you are so then we can reach out and get to know you on a personal level.
Brooke, I felt like you're talking to me. My WhatsApp picture was missing. My bad.
No,
No, I just did it by mistake.
Handful of people, and I feel bad because I'm sure they're fantastic and they're fabulous, wonderful people that would bring value. But they're constantly reaching out to collaborate and work. And this is with my Michael Blanc group as well. Yet there's no photo. Okay, well, what's your LinkedIn profile? Let's get to know each other and see what events you're at. And maybe I can bring you onto a call, show some deals, show that you're committed. You know, that's always stands tall in my mind from Shirai when we first met. Be committed. I don't need deals, Brooke. I need commitment. That's the number one thing. And I want, if we're trying to date and build relationships, we need to know who you are. And that's just too common where people want to make very minimal effort and they want things handed to them. And if you want something, you bust your ass, you show up and you show your face, point blank. That's all I'm saying.
That's a fair point. I
I'm
would
not,
definitely...
no, Mohammed, that wasn't geared to you. No. Yes, you're not on video.
Brooke, you gotta slow down now. You got your point out. Let somebody get back in.
Yeah.
No. I know you weren't necessarily saying directly to me, but you're actually making a very excellent point. If I wasn't outside the event in the parking lot, I'd have my camera on, but I look forward to hopefully meeting everyone in person at the next in-person event or at the next opportunity. I'm definitely very active right now and trying to network as much as I can. So great advice though.
We appreciate you.
I uploaded my picture. When I was talking to us, let me fix my picture real quick.
I'm just saying, for
You're
people
rough,
who
man.
don't know who
Okay,
you
I
are.
got you.
If they don't know who you are.
Let's see, do I have a picture? Oh, no, because it goes to Schreier. Oh.
Everybody knows Mike and Schreier.
No, I was seeing if I have a picture usually for my Zoom at least, but no, I signed in as Schreier today, so.
Sorry, Brooke.
All right.
Damn, Brooke is in there.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Call me out. If I'm wrong, tell me, Brooke, I disagree. My feelings won't be hurt. I'm
I think it's,
but am I wrong?
No, you're not. There's not about wrong. It's about the, so some of us also need like, hey, how do I do that sometimes? And, that's what I sometimes like, I'm missing things because I don't even realize it. So I think it's great to help people and show like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. And I know we talked with you at one point even was around the whole CRM process, the CRM and you weren't, it was like you were trying to connect with a lot of people, but you weren't really making it a system in a way. So once we start talking to others about, hey, this is what I do, this is what maybe you should be looking at doing. And I've seen just your shift in like delivery of things coming out, the way the flow is, has changed a lot. So I think the sometimes it's like it's pointing stuff out, but it's also like, hey, let's move people along the path, because I know when I started, like I didn't know about like what I should be posting out there, what I needed to share. So I think you bring up great points for everyone.
Yeah, we're all learning, we're all figuring it out together. And
Yeah.
I'm always willing to help show people stuff. Believe me, I am. And you're right about the CRM. I had a lot of manual processes involved. Still kind of do. But yes.
Yeah.
On the note, Mohammed, got your email. Thank you for sending out the email. Appreciate it. Let's connect as we, as you go. I'll reply you back.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yep.
And don't forget.
Thanks for having me.
Don't forget, tell Brad why you were late.
I will.
I signed up for his meetup, but I totally forgot that we had the webinar. So it's like, oh, I have two events at the same time. One in person,
I wanted to
one
go.
online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, this is the chart we were looking for today. Is it? The brokers?
Yes.
The revenue drop rate? It is so interesting. It is so interesting. No, I mean, okay, so this is Mike and I, we had lunch with JLL today, and typically those guys, you call them, they would not even think about you, right? Up until last year. And this year is the completely other way around. And I was impressed, it's how far that they're going to offer the service, right? And then one of the reason is how we behave sometimes, because we need something. But the point is, if you bet on the relationship, not a transaction, life is easier. When the tough time happens, you got other shoulders to lean on. But if you treat somebody a certain way, they will treat you a certain way too, right? Because we all are inherently teaching others how to deal with us and how to behave with us, right? As we treat everybody else. So I know I have personally some broker, and we got out the contract. He took it to person. He said, I will never give you a deal. I was like, okay, let me see how long whoever can stay, right? The same team right now comes around hugging and kissing. But remember, what goes wrong, that comes wrong, right? And that's the reason of it. Everybody's hurting. The brokers and the owners and everything else. Like back to the market risk that we talked about last webinar, right? It is interesting. And it sucks. And I remember when I went to NMHC, one guy was making a comment, was that, look, Shariar, look at the brokerage panel that you have, pick the relationship that you want to protect and let go the rest. And you'll see those people treated you something else, they may not stay in the business after this year. And that's a telltale sign. Interesting. How did I'll share, Mike?
No, that's good. Yeah, we had a great lunch today with JLL, right there in the middle. And so we'll follow up with them as well. Jasmine, I know Angela's gone now, but they offered up their facility to do our meetups in, which is a really nice place. So,
it's awesome. And I loved it. I just don't want to share that I loved it. Michael was like, you're liking it already.
Walk around.
That's awesome.
Sometimes it's like act normal.
I know. I was like,
oh,
should I
okay.
stay calm, And Mike already loves it. We already know.
I spoke with an investor and I said, well, how much are you
Thanks,
looking to
AJ.
invest? I said, like, how much
Nancy.
are you looking to invest this year? And he was like, oh, about 1 million. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. Act normal. So I feel you. Okay, excited for that.
It was really cool office. They gave us the 13th floor, I think, or 11th floor. You got the rooftop. You can see the Galleria. We can host our events there. That's what they said. And I was like, okay, event is the one, fine. Like, can we get some deals, right? It's like, deal first, deal everything. And then
buying me with this. Yeah.
Hey, when everybody signs, when that dotted line gets signed, everybody's happy. Let's work towards it, right? So it was fun. But those guys we really like the team. They're open. They're about 3 years into the game, and they're trying to make the mark, right? They're trying to stay in the business, and they're going, out of the ways to make sure that they offer every single thing that they could offer just to differentiate themselves from the other guys. Like, and I saw some of the brokers companies tough to see that way, but it was really good lunch.
That's awesome. Looking
Shariar,
Hey,
Just out of curiosity, can I ask who you met with from the JLL team?
We met, hold on, let me get you the name before I make a mistake. But where am I at? So who did we met? We met with Will, we met with Trey and Kelly.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Do you who do you work for? If you don't mind.
Yeah, right now I work for a company called International Realty, but before JLL, well, I used to work at HFF prior to the JLL acquisition.
Okay.
So some of the faces there at JLL, I worked with, not so much on the production side, but yeah, I have a few colleagues there.
Got it. Just these guys, I thought everybody was new when they started the farm 3-4 years ago. They didn't have the multifamily as strong. They just give the P&L and say, "Go guys, kill it," right? And they've done a good job. So yeah, I like the team. Again, it's a young team, right, compared to some of these other shops.
Yep.
Cool, and that's your superpower, man. I mean, look, it's how should I say it? If everybody does everything the same way at all time, who's gonna win? If we all use the same underwriting template, the same assumption, the same rent growth, the same OPEX ratio, who's gonna come up with a better price, right? And now it's not the price, right? So you have an understanding. So we actively work for, like, we have 3 deal hunters, Mike, I, and Sanjay. We always look, and look at Ramiz here. He's young, but that boy, he's special. So we all are continuously looking for deals, not only by ourselves, but via our partners and other relationships that we have, right? And I always say, at least to me, life is unfair. It should be unfair. And one of the reasons it's unfair, including the real estate, is the relationship. Question is how many relationships you can put on your side. And that's where we add value. So you're in the game, you know the relationship, you have those know-how, and it's easier to come into a deal from that angle.